You all so much for taking the time today. I'm excited to talk to you about going from napkins to numbers in minutes. A little bit about our name, Zebel. It's a Farsi word. It means quick and smart, and very well reflects the value proposition that we offer to our clients. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by napkins and numbers and in minutes. A little bit about my background. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. I come from construction background. I went to USC for construction management master's program. Also got my MBA from the Wharton School. I am a construction veteran turned tech entrepreneur. I've been in the construction industry for more than 20 years. I grew up going to the construction site with my dad in the field. I spent years in it. And then later on moved to the technology side, became a BIM specialist at the company in New York, and then moved to another company, a GC company in California as a BIM manager. And later I moved to on the precon management side and the cost estimating. And that's where the whole idea of Zebel was born. And that's what I'm going to tell you about, what that problem was and why we built Zebel. So in my role as a pre-con manager in my most recent job before starting this company at a company called Western National Group, I used to receive emails like this from a developer client. They send us a napkin sketch with a quick request. Can you give me a quick cost estimate? Sometimes it was just a napkin sketch with some description or sometimes some kind of tabulations, like in this case, you see on the top right corner of the picture. Here's the acreage of the site, or maybe if it was a multifamily project, how many units I have or how many garages, sometimes more or less information, and with a very big ask. And my typical process would take a couple of weeks. And here's how I would do it. I would go look up the most similar, most recent project that I estimated, and I would find that Excel file in the pile of all of the Excel files and the folders and subfolders we had in our shared drive. Find that file, make a copy of it, rename it, make some changes in the inputs, and then you would realize that there are some aspects of that job that I need to, that were not really similar to this new project I'm estimating. I have to borrow some other pricing from other projects. Next thing you know, I would open up 5 or 6 other Excel files, and I'm constantly copying and pasting information from one to another and manipulating things and hoping that the very file that I made a copy of doesn't have any broken formula or anything. And most of my time was spent on just gathering information from past projects, from historical data. And really only maybe 10% of my time was spent on the actual estimating. And that's when the idea was born. Like, why don't we make this process a lot more organized and faster instead of weeks? What if we could run this operation a lot more organized and in minutes? So the information would just flow through certain workflows, and I could get the information I wanted a lot faster and turn around that estimate to the client the same day rather than in a few days or in a couple of weeks. And that's why we built the fastest cost estimating software, Zebel. In the beginning, we started out with 2 particular components: a historical database to organize the historical data that would feed a conceptual estimating component to create conceptual estimates. We launched about 4 or 5 years ago. People really loved that part of it, and then they asked more. This is great. I created my estimate in a few minutes, but now the client has come back with updated drawings, and I need to update my estimate. I need to be able to create detailed estimate in like a GMP level. Then we added more modules: detailed estimating, bid management, and even a market benchmarking tool to compare your cost against the market. We serve general contractors and developers across the country and even up in Canada. And we work with any GC and developer that builds anything vertical, nothing on the like horizontal or road construction, infrastructure, things like that, but anything vertical, we work with different companies. We already work with some of the most well-known developers and GCs across the country, including Google and Amazon. They run their all of their projects in like Amazon for their North America. They started with their warehouses and now they're expanding it into all of their robotics and fulfillment centers, all the way to we can see some of our clients' name in here, and we are growing very fast. So that's all of the slides I have, and now I'm going to show it to you in action how it works, and then we can go through some questions and answers. Okay, so here is our software, and let's say it's one of those days that you're GC, you receive an email from a client and says, hey, here's a napkin sketch. Can you give me an estimate? You will go to the estimate page and create a new estimate. This is a brand new one, and the software will walk you through a 4-step process. First, tell me about the project. It's a new project. I'm going to call this AGC. Let's say this is an apartment building project. AGC apartments. I'm going to select the project type. This is a mixed-use multifamily wrap. Type in the address. It says in Concord, California. This is the whole project. I'm going to call this version 1. This is conceptual, type 5 construction, continue, pick my multifamily template. Step 3 is where you pick your comps. This is where you tap into your historical projects and pick the most relevant projects. And you can see even the software automatically picked up 3 suggestions for me based on the project type, location, and recency. I'm going to remove these and select the ones that I want. I'm going to add comps. From this project selector, I can pick any project from my database that I want. Let's say I want to use this project called Asana Apartments, and I want to use the GMP version of it, or I have the option to use the final cost with all of the change orders. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use this other project called Denver Heights, maybe phase A. And you can pick as many comps as you want and hit continue. And then there's only one last step, entering your inputs about the new project. This is a questionnaire that you get to design. Each of our customers have uniquely designed their own questionnaire in this step. In this case, I'm entering the acreage of the site first. Let's say this is 4.5 acres. Then the software is asking me, tell me about the unit mix. How many studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms do you have? Let's start with the studios. I have my studios called A1, and maybe I got 53 of those. Each one is 700 square feet with 1 full bathroom and 0 half bath and 5 plumbing waste outlets. That's all of the studios I have. And let's enter my 1 bedrooms. I have a 1 bedroom called B1. I got 91 of those. Each one is 850 square feet with 1 full bathroom, 0 half bath, and 5 plumbing waste outlets. And what if I have another type of 1 bedroom? I'm going to enter those, and I'm going to call them B2 units. I got 165 of those, and each one is 919 square feet with 1 full bathroom and 5 plumbing waste outlets. And let's throw in some 2 bedrooms also in here. Maybe I got the 92 of these. Each one is 1,200 square feet. And I'm done with my unit mix. So I entered my number of unit types, and you can see the software is adding up all of my total counts. I have total of 401 units. My average unit size is 939 square feet. And then I'm going to check my residential building parameters. You can see a lot of these things are formulaically calculated for me, like my total net rentable square footage. These are all driven by formulas that the clients can bring with them. And my efficiency is assumed to be 70%. That is the average efficiency from my 2 comp projects that I used. That's how I programmed the software to use it. And next, I have my parking information, my parking square footage, and so on and so forth, and even down to my schedule. It's estimating it to take 26 months. Once I'm done with entering my information, I'm going to hit continue, and boom, my estimate is ready. $171 million of total direct costs plus 10 million of indirect. That adds up to 181 and translates to 482 per square foot. How much is it per apartment unit? I can change that unit of measure to whatever I want. Let's say per apartment unit is 452,000 per unit. how much is it per bedroom. I can do that, for whatever unit of measure you want. This is what we call the 5-minute number. And you can see all of my inputs are on the left-hand side and my output estimate is on the right-hand side. Some of the notable items in here is, you can see this estimate is based on these two comps, Asana Apartments from 2023 and Denver Heights 2018. And a little history of how this estimate was calculated. Now I'm going to show you how this estimate was actually calculated. I'm going to go to the detailed budget. That's where the estimate was actually created. And you can see my total estimate, 181 million. And on the right-hand side, you see the two comps that I picked, Asana Apartments and Denver Heights. And you can see the software is applying 13% escalation to this project and 80% escalation to this project. What does that mean? It means the software already automatically recognized that this project is from 2023, this is from 2018. So in order to reference those pricing, you need to normalize that cost for time, and the software automatically takes care of that. And if I open up, I can see the breakdown of my costs across my categories and divisions, and every client is going to see their own categories and divisions, however they break down their cost. And within each category, I can go down to all the way to the individual cost codes. Even though this is a conceptual number, but it's built from the bottom up. I can see an estimate for every single line item in here. And as I'm going through the line items here, for example, I can see my cabinets estimate is $2.7 million. That line item is driven by the apartment unit counts, which I have 401 of those, and a unit pricing of $67.70. The $67.70 per unit is the average of the unit cost from those two comp projects. The first one was 4,000, the other one was 8,000. And if I hover over that little 4,000, it even shows me the math behind it. It had $1.1 million worth of cabinets in there, and that project had 282 apartment units. And after you apply the 13% escalation, it comes up with that $4,700. And that's the kind of math that I used to do like on the side in a lot of spreadsheets. And the software is doing that for every line item, for every comp that I want, and automatically normalizing it and bring it right at my fingertips. So I have that initial number in here to start with. And now I have the option to start manipulating these things. For example, I can see for cabinets, I have a $4,000 project and the other one was $8,000. Maybe that was too expensive. That cabinet was too high end and I don't want to use that. I can just quickly turn that off and take it out of the equation. Now you see I'm using the 4,700 and my estimate is updated from 2-point-something million is now down to 1.8 million. Or I can just hover over each line item and just override that and say, I don't want to use any of the historicals. I want to use $5,000 per unit. That's the number I got from my subcontractor. And I'm going to mark this as the budget source is not historical in this case. It's subcontractor input. Or maybe for roofing, the owner asked me to carry $20 per residential building footprint. And I'm going to mark this as allowance. And we have built this in a way that you start leveraging your historical data to get your starting point. And as you go through your estimating process, you can start inserting more intelligence and document all of your process along the way. For example, if I want to memorialize where I got that $5,000, I can bring in my inline notes and say, let me close these a little bit to save some space. So here I can enter some notes and say pricing based on XYZ sub and save that. So that note is there. And I can also, if I want to attach a PDF of the email that I got or something, I can upload that. Let me do a quick one here. So here's, I'm just going to upload that file. So now you see there's a file in here. So you can just automatically just document your way along as you're going through the estimating process. And so you can make those kinds of adjustments. And after you're done with your estimate, you can get these extra analytics. For example, I can see that my budget source, I get these extra intelligence that comes with my estimate. In this case, 97% of my estimate is based on historical, and 1.2% based on sub input, and 1.6% based on allowance. And you can customize these and different options. But the point here is you get to your client faster than anyone else, and you get back to them with a lot more detail than your competitors that typically deliver to them, because now you have this fully detailed estimate and that you can back it up. If they want to ask you, how did you come up with the building cleanup number of $446,000? You can sit down with them and say, look, I used that number from my project Denver Heights on a cost per unit basis. And after I adjusted it for escalation, this is how I come up with the number. So you get back to your clients faster. You get to defend your number and back it up with data. Plus, you get to offer this extra intelligence with all of these tags and other layers of intelligence. Plus, there's one other thing that we are very unique in the market is you get to also compare this estimate against not only your other past projects, but also against the market. Here in the market page, you will get to compare your projects in blue versus the market in orange, and this particular project in green. It's kind of hard to see in this graph here, but I can filter this. You can see where we currently have data from our clients over in the country. I'm going to say, show me like multifamily, just podiums and wraps, and show me only California. And within California, I only want to see Northern California projects. So do not show me Santa Barbara or Oxnard. Don't show me Bakersfield. Don't show me Riverside. I'm going to exclude San Diego and maybe LA. Now I'm looking at podiums and wrap multifamily projects in Northern California. And on top of that, I can say, show me projects that are either completed, in construction, or in contract. Don't show me other people's estimates. And these data points that you see, the orange dots, these are the projects from our other clients. Every time one of our clients that uploads one of their historical projects or just creates an estimate here, it automatically goes to this bigger pool of data that we are aggregating. Think of this as a replacement for RS means, but with real data, with real projects, not someone's opinion. And now I can see how these projects compared with the market in different ways, in this histogram or in this graph that shows the average. And I can see the total construction cost per apartment unit. If I want to see per square foot, just change that unit of measure to net rentable square footage. And now I'm looking at the cost per net rentable square footage. And you can see how my project's costs have been trending over time versus the market. And you can see more or less, in this case, I've been following the market. And these are different ways to look at it. And once you're done with the estimate, you get to export this into either CSV or a PDF. And the PDF clearly documents all of your inputs that drive your estimate, along with the actual estimate here down below. And you can configure this to make it however granular or however simple you want. For example, this is 13-page document with every single cost code. What if I just want to give them high-level numbers? I can come here, use this configurator on the left-hand side and say, don't show individual cost codes, and run the report again. And now I have just a one-pager. So that's the.
Hey, Hamid, we have about 4 minutes left, and I want to make sure we leave some time for questions as well.
Yeah, great timing for questions. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure. Let me see.
Any questions from
the chats? Okay. Yeah, happy to take any questions.
I think you've been working with Keller, right? Cass over at Keller.
Yes, yeah. Cass introduced me to the group.
I had a question.
Awesome.
Sure, go ahead.
Is there a way to opt out of having your estimate or your project load up into your database? Like, let's say you're doing something for the federal government and they really don't want people to know about it. Like, can you say, hey, sorry, I'm not loading this?
Yes, you can. It's totally voluntary, and you may choose to opt in or out of the program, and it won't even impact the cost of using the software. It's a give and take model.
Cool.
Looks like Kevin's asked a question in the chat as well.
Does the estimating work best with unit price type of estimates? Oh, it's up to you what unit of measure you use. So in this case, you can see, for example, I am estimating the countertops and cabinets based on the number of units, but my finished carpentry is driven by the number of bedrooms, and my framing is driven by the gross square footage of the project. But you can make this more detailed. For example, if you have the actual linear footage of your cabinet and you want to estimate it based on that, you can change this unit of measure to make it manual value. And let's say I have 1,000 feet of linear feet of cabinets. That's linear feet. And each foot is costing me $85. So that's 85 times 1,000. That's $85,000. You can do it that way. And you can flip through these unit of measure whenever you want. If my finished carpentry, if you believe you will get a more accurate estimate on a per square foot basis, right now it's $3.1 million. I'm going to change this to per maybe gross square foot. So now you see my estimate is now 3.8 million. It changes, but you want to pick the best unit of measure that will give you the most accurate cost estimate.
Awesome. I think
Okay.
maybe John had a question too. I'm not sure.
So the last question I see is from Kevin's.
Hamid, would you be able to provide your contact information in the chat?
Sure. Sure.
I'm sure some additional questions will come up, and we can post your information on the technology page as well.
Yeah, I'm just putting my contact information in here.
Cool product. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me.
And we have limited time on these meetings and appreciate that you're able to show us all of this in a short amount of time. Last thing I want is for anyone to feel rushed, but it gives us a great idea, and part of our mission as on the committee is to identify new technologies and ways that we can benefit the industry. So really appreciate your time going through this with us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I'll be happy to walk through any more details. Yeah, please feel free to contact me with I've just put my contact information in the chat box.